Hey everyone, welcome back to Automation. So I've got the specs for an A80 Supra here, and I figure why don't we make something that at least mildly resembles that. It's not going to be perfect by any means because I'm going to guess half the stuff, but I'm going to be using this body all the way down here. So it's probably not going to look quite right either, but you know what? I think I can do it. Now, before we get into this, again, I just want to reiterate that when I remake a car in automation, I am doing so within the limits of automation, so it's not going to be perfect at all. And immediately, we're going to be noticing some differences because sometimes automation doesn't have the right suspension for these cars, and we just kind of have to pick the closest thing, and so that's what I'm going to do. You can see the nose on this car is way too long, and the back end is not really high enough, so we're gonna have to do some work there. Hopefully we can shrink that down a bit, but other than that, I think it's gonna be able to work. It's gonna look weird, but it might work. It's gonna be the long Supra instead of the wide Supra, but I'm hopeful. Okay, so based on my understanding of things, it's double wishbone in the back. So that's double wishbone in the front and the back. That might be incorrect, but for now, that'll be fine. And here's where it gets interesting because we're going to be remaking the 2JZ, and not how people think it is, but how it actually is. So it's not going to have 1,000 horsepower. It's going to be a cool, I think it's 330. That's still pretty decent. Like, that's not bad. Funnily enough, the default setting of 8686 is the actual engine size, so no need to worry about that. The 2JZ is a dual overhead cam as far as I know, and there are 4 valves per cylinder, and the head is actually made out of aluminum as far as I know as well. So I think we're kind of getting what we want here. It does look like a 2JZ if you squint really hard. Now, I don't think that the 2JZ has a variable valve lift, but I think it does have variable valve timing, so we'll put that on. But everything there seems fine. This stuff I'm going to have to guess on because I'm not sure, but we'll just kind of have to go with what we need in order to get the power figure that I want. Alright, compression ratio claims to be 10 to 1, so let's do that. There we go, 10 to 1 is there. Cam profile and stuff, that's automation specific, so we'll have to make that up. And yeah, turbos, here we go. Ball bearing and a performance preset, let's say for now. We'll come back to that. We want to make a decent amount of power, so we're going to turn that up a touch, and we'll come back to that later too. Alright, without even really trying, I've created something that has terrible turbo lag. And yeah, that's kind of what you would expect from something that just gets slapped together. So let's go ahead and tune this thing to try and make 330 horsepower and see if I can get there. But I should change the RPM. That's kind of important. Alright, so from what I'm reading, the RPM limit is 7,000-ish. The engine gets upset when you go beyond 7,000 without other modifications, so that makes a lot of sense for me. And, oh, you know what? First thing we can do is make the exhaust bigger because apparently it is not big enough. And that means we can get a lot more power out of this lad. 270, not bad. And the fuel mixture could use a bit of work because we are currently knocking. So let me just turn that up. 305, that's getting even closer. Still a turbo cliff here, which is not ideal, but if this was a Honda, I'd call that VTEC. Okay, I've almost done it here. That's 330, which is kind of where I want to be. 420 on the torque curve. That's close. I think it would be 440-ish, somewhere around there at 4,000 RPM. That's really low, but this is working out pretty nicely. Just don't look at this, okay? Don't look at that. That's not allowed. Okay, so I'm working here to try and tune this to get rid of that torque bump, and I've actually been able to do it, but here's the thing. I put the compressor down basically all the way, which means it may as well not even be turbocharged at this point. It's got barely anything going through it. But as soon as I raise that up, even just a little bit, we get that bump right in the middle. And then when it gets up to a more acceptable range, we end up with a torque mountain or cliff or whatever you may want to call it. So we're going to have to compromise a little bit here. This engine is a little bit whack, but I think that's just part of the charm. Also, the camera profile is up all the way, so I should probably turn that down. But yeah, it literally just makes it a mountain right in the center. I guess that's what you'd expect. You know what? I'm kind of eager to test this. I want to see how bad the wheel spin is due to this really poor gearing right there. 330, 415, that's going to be pretty sweet, I think. So yeah, let's give it a shot. Okay, so here's the car. Now, this is extremely important because I need to know if this is even possible or not. We're gonna have to get rid of those stripes, by the way. That's just not gonna happen. But if I move over here, it looks like, okay, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. Okay, we'll go with this one then. Now, body morphing. We need to shrink the front end, but it looks like it can only go longer. So we'll make that as short as possible. And then if, oh man, okay, so I can't bring that up. Can't bring that up either. This is going to be very, very interesting. Basically, I'm creating a knockoff Supra, if nothing else. Okay, the fenders on this do get wider, but not in the way that I'd like, so I'm just gonna give them a little bit and pretend that I didn't see that. Okay, we may have to make our own little lip on the back here. That's gonna be tricky, but I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot. And same thing back here. Thanks to the newfound 3D modeling, I should be able to do a little bit better. And yeah, that'll be that. Alright, on to the fixtures. So for those of you who may have watched a video or two on automation before, you might think that I didn't change the paint. And yeah, no, I changed it. It's just still red. I decided to go with red. Originally I was going to match the engine, but I decided against that just to, I don't know. Supras are red in my mind, I don't know. Okay, let's go. This is the tricky part. Let me see if I can make something good here. Okay, so the game actually has Supra taillights in it, which makes this a lot easier, so I'm just going to use those, but we still need to make the fronts and the grille and all that stuff, and there's still a lot of work to do. First thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to change the window transparency to 97%, because that seems to be the way to go, just so we can see in the car, and then we'll make it have a full interior and all that. It's going to be nice. I'm going to try and do this one nice. And wheels are so hard to pick. I've been trying to pick wheels for like 10 minutes now. But this is their exact size. It's 235. Actually, let me just show you. 235, 50 R17s. But I'm having trouble picking out rims, I should say. Rims, not wheels. Although, yeah, I don't know. Some people are picky. But these are the closest ones I can find in terms of look. But they've got 6 of these instead of 5. And then these ones are pretty close, but they kind of have this dent in the middle which don't work. So, yeah, the choice is not easy. Okay, so to nail the Supra look, because apparently it can be applied to anything, I'm going to attempt to prove that in this video as well, but we basically need the taillights, which I'm not in the right section for. And let me get some of those here. White side stays in the middle, and the yellow one goes on the outside, so that's easy enough. And all I have to do is make them the right size. You can see they changed the gizmo, and it's a lot more complicated looking now. They didn't exactly fix it, but they did add little shortcuts, which is really nice, so thank you devs for that. Okay, well, it looks like this is what I'm working with here. Again, not particularly ideal in terms of looking like the actual car, at least not yet. We'll work on that in a bit. But I think I need to change up some of this other stuff too, my goodness. Okay, so the lines on this body are completely off, but that's fine. This is officially a knockoff Supra, so yeah, don't worry about being exact. It just needs to be close, relatively speaking. Okay, it looks like an Integra. I think I've messed up. Oh boy, okay, this is really not turning out quite as good as I thought it was going to be. I have 2 fixtures on there, and it's been 40 minutes. Okay, so I have a piece on there, and it does look a little bit whack, but it kind of works. Like, it's really filling up that spot. The shadows are all off, at least in this version of it. Let me quickly check in the photo mode to make sure that it's actually going to look nice. Like, the trickiest thing for this game to do is to blend everything together, and it doesn't blend that one part particularly well, but that does look quite good from that angle, so I think I'm getting somewhere. Slowly, but getting there. Okay, by the time I'm done with this entire car is going to be made out of this body molding stuff, but I gotta say, it is working, so I'm gonna keep using it. But there you go, that's the basic back end done. I just need to add a plate and some exhaust and some kind of trim on the bottom, and I need to do the rest of the car. It's fine, this is a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying this. Oh, we got some cool stuff as well. We have actual exhaust pieces, so I don't just have to put a big turbo on the bottom there. I can now use 3D models. That's awesome. Oh my goodness, okay. Supra rear end complete. My lord, that took a long time, but still got the front to do and the sides, and just ignore the big patches on the car. I was really trying to fill in some of these gaps, and I was semi-successful in doing so, but yeah, we'll have to see what it looks like in BeamNG to know how the light reflects off of it. I think this is one instance when the car is actually going to look better in Beam than it does in automation, just because the light reflections, they should come out better in Beam, but we'll see. So the side of the Supra is pretty easy, so I may as well show you what I'm thinking there. Basically we have vents. I mean, that's not too difficult. We'll just slap some vents on there, slap some mirrors on there, door handles, bit of a thing here. I'm gonna have to use some trim for that, and yeah, that'll be that. Okay, side is done, and now the very important part, the front end. I've got to make this look like a Supra just as much as the back end does, so not at all. But then I'm also going to make an interior real quick, and yeah, so I upped the rim size to 18s because I just think it looks better. That's just my opinion, but honestly, we're gonna skip the realism on that one just for a better looking car overall. That's all I care about in this case. Alright, so the front end of the Supra looks like this. This is the, I don't know if this is the facelift or not. I literally just looked up Supra and that's what I got, so yeah, we're just gonna design it based on this and whatever's available in here. Okay, so this is what I think I'm gonna do for the headlights, and oh, how'd that get there? They're kind of a weird shape, but I think that they may work. They don't quite line up exactly with what the car has, but does anything here. So I'm going to try my best to make these things work. We'll see what happens, but somehow I've got to fix this bump in the hood because the Supra does not have that. Okay, so it kind of looks like it's crying, but I assure you it is not being tortured, at least not yet. I'm trying my best here to make something weird, and I am very thoroughly succeeding. Next up is the all-important grille, and you know what, I might have just found it right here. Nice and easy. Okay, grand reveal time. This is the front end. It's a little bit worse than I thought it was gonna be, but if somebody asks if this is a Supra, you can very safely say no. Okay, I think I better put an interior in here and finish this thing off before it gets even worse, but oh my goodness, it really needs that bump right here. It just doesn't have it. So for the interior, I have the option of using these mod pieces, or I could potentially go with the pre-made one, but I've already used that in the Magnum Opus, so I'm going to use the other pieces here. It's not actually that hard to make a good interior these days, so yeah, let me just put one in. It's not going to be very Supra-ish because that car has a very, very specific interior, but I will try my best here. Okay, immediately the car is looking better already. Big dashboard on the front, and hopefully I can raise it up without causing too many issues. Oh yeah, that's looking like a car. Great. Okay, interior's done. I gave it a red shifter because I thought that was cool. Kind of a modern interior, and this time the driver can actually reach the steering wheel. Although I might... Well, you know what? There's no back seats, but you got a lot of room in there. And you could probably fit a twin-turbo V16 under the hood, but yeah, here we are. There's so much space under there. Probably fit 3 of these engines in there. Oh yeah, apparently the bonnet in this car is this. Not sure how that happened. It's a mod body, so I can't say too much. You can add a lot of other 3D parts if somebody's taking the time to model, like full-on engine pieces to make your car look a little bit more realistic. There's a lot of detail going on these days, a lot of detail. In some ways, a little bit too much. Who am I kidding? It's actually a good thing, let's be real. And then if you hide the body, you can see the fixtures that I've put on. Basically, the entire back end is made out of pieces, so it doesn't really look that much different. And then the front end is kind of partially made up of pieces as well, but yeah, this is the new Supra right here. Okay, car is on the ground now because you can raise and lower the car hoist, and you can hide it if you really want to, but I think that might be it. Yeah, Supra, here we go. Is that a Supra? Yeah, if you're dreaming, yeah. Okay, apparently these cars actually had back wipers, so I'm going to quickly add one of those, and then we'll move on to the rest of the bits, and then, yeah, I guess we can try it out in Beam and see how bad that turbo lag is. Okay, on to the drivetrain. So it's going to be a 6-speed manual, and the top speed I actually have. Let's make it 256 kilometers an hour. That is apparently what the actual car is limited to, so that makes it easy for me. Yeah, somewhere, that's close enough. I'm giving it a geared LSD because I don't want it to break, and we'll have to come back to the spacing and stuff later because the car does not currently have proper wheels on it. I'm just going to go for a sports compound and we'll see if it actually lives with that. 235s are the size if you remember from before, and I'll make them alloy as well. Vented discs in the front, we'll give them 4 pistons on each and we'll raise up the size of the front especially. And then the back a little bit too. Hopefully it works. I hope. We'll make it semi-clad, no active wing or anything fancy like that. And just a touch of the brake airflow for whatever reason. That's good enough. Okay, apparently there are things that I have not seen before, including detachable or auto hardtop. Although, doesn't seem like that actually does anything at this point. Maybe it affects weight. I'm just going to say detachable. And we're going to take out the back seats, so it'll just be a sport interior with a premium CD and only 2 seats in the front. I'm going to give it ABS but no traction control, and we'll give it standard 90s safety because this was a 93 car brought into the 2000s, just the early 2000s though. Okay, suspension, standard, let's do gas monotube with semi-active. Apparently this is going really well for the budget. I did not anticipate that. And we get 9.2 liters per 100 kilometers, which is actually not that bad, surprisingly so. Alright, I hit it with the sport preset, and we're deep into oversteer territory, which makes sense. It's rear-wheel drive. Oversteer, dampers, and wheel spin issues. That's kind of just the usual stuff for me at this point. If we take a look at that ride height, the thing is sitting pretty, and it is sitting low. Realistically, we could also drop it down all the way, and I would not mind, but I'll just leave it around here. Back over to the drivetrain, and our spacing is a little bit jank. Yeah, this is going to be weird, isn't it? We have 258 k's an hour. It can go faster than that, but that's fine. Wheel spin 14%, all of it in first gear. Actually, that's not true. Some of it in second gear as well. Yeah, we're going to have to start in third gear, aren't we? Okay, so I turned down the spacing a bit. We're down to 10% wheel spin. A little bit lower over there. That's going to be fine. I'm okay with the oversteer issues as long as the car actually drives straight-ish. And I think that's that. The Supra, question mark, is ready to go. Let's try it out in Beam, see how it drives, and that'll be that. Welcome to BeamNG, where you can see that there has been some small activity here. I have been working really hard on this car for quite a while now, and you can see that the outcome is perfection. A beautifully modeled, 100% not faking it right now, Supra that is definitely not a Beam car. But yeah, if we take this one for a spin on the instead, we may as well just kind of drive it on out here, see if we can... Oh, what's that? Hold on a minute, what is this thing? Is that a Supra? Yes, my good man, this is indeed the the real version. I have many questions for myself, but honestly, if you compare it to the more lifelike version, it's not that bad. Let me wait. Let me try and start it here. There we go, first gear. I haven't actually driven it yet, but there you go. It's a little bit bigger than a normal Supra, and a little bit uglier too. Okay, so I jumped to free cam real quick just because I want to take a look at them both. This is the legit Supra, or at least semi-legit. This is made by somebody and then put in BeamNG as a mod. And yeah, this is quite a nice model. Somebody spent some time on it. And then there's this. So some obvious things, we'll ignore the exporting issues, like the lights are white when they really shouldn't be. Same thing at the front, the lights are white and they obviously shouldn't be. But the general shape is different and it kind of screws with the entire thing. Like if you look at this car here, the bumper kind of pops out a bit. This one just doesn't. It's far more rounded above the lights than this car is. And those things just change it drastically. Same thing with the hood length and the length of the interior piece as well. This is definitely meant to be a 2+2, whereas the Supra is, well, It's not. I guess you could put people back here, but it's not going to be easy. But yeah, overall, I'm okay with it. It's not amazing. I definitely could have done better, and I'm interested to see if somebody else can do better. Please make a Supra in automation and then post it in the Discord for me to see. Feel free to at me to let me see it on the Discord. I'm interested to see which body people choose and if I just completely missed an actual proper one. Anyway, let's take this thing for a drive and see what it's like in the Driver Experience Center, which is not particularly big, but it should be kind of fun. Okay, so first time driving this thing any distance. Let me just quickly get into first gear here. Now I assure you that the car does make noise, it just doesn't make very much because it does have a muffler. It actually has full mufflers. I wanted to make it road legal, as I try to do with a lot of these pretend cars that I make. I really think that my G35 car, like replica made out of an Audi A4 body, turned out quite a bit better than this car did. However, I'm still pleased with this one, as weird as it is, and it's not that slow either. It seems to be pretty decently quick, all things considered. I mean, 330 horsepower is not anything to put to the side there. That's a decent amount of power. I mean, there's a reason that these cars are legendary these days. I see way too many Instagram memes about them, and that's kind of what inspired me to do this. Yes, I was inspired by Instagram memes, please don't hurt me. But yeah, I was actually going to put some of them in this video, including the title video reference, but I don't think I can because it seems to have been copyrighted by one of those companies, so I'm afraid I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. However, I had this really terrible idea to recreate it out of a stick figure animation. So if I decide to do that, then I'll post it here. But if not, then sorry, and I'm just giving away my ideas now. These ideas are free for you to try. That's just a trial though, because you're going to need to subscribe to this channel to get the full version. No, not really, but please. I'm dying here. End of 2020. 40k, let's go. And also a grass burnout, let's go. Well, I don't really have much to say about it. It's a car, it drives. It's not particularly amazing, but it's also not particularly bad. I've made some really bad cars in the past, so whenever I drive something kind of just mediocre, it's like, oh, okay, I did something good today. I can go to sleep knowing that I at least made a car that drives. Let's try and drive down this strip here. I think you're supposed to stop down here, and that's why it's wet. Either that or you're supposed to do a mega drift. This thing does just have sport tires, it doesn't have semi-slicks. That might have been a mistake, but it's okay. I mean, we're getting along just fine. That being said, with a second gear burnout going on here, I can't downshift because otherwise I'm going to blow the engine. I really want to blow the engine, actually. I think that'd be kind of fun, but we'll think about that another time. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. The Supra reigns supreme as the car that came from the factory with 1,000 horsepower. And if you're interested, I'll make a hopped up version of this thing before the end of the year, and we'll use it as Santa's lead sled round 2. The Riced Out Supra Christmas edition. I don't have any other good ideas right now, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. But yeah, I mean, we can hit all the super stereotypes, can't we? That could be a lot of fun. Anyway, I think that's going to be it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, even with its ridiculous length, be sure to subscribe because I'm going to keep making content like this coming up in 2021. And I've got a library of content in the past from 2020, 2019, videos that you might be interested if you like this one. Just don't go too far back. They get worse the farther back you go, to a point. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. There we go. I just want to say a big thank you to all the supporters on this channel. My goodness, there are a lot of you now. We're up to 20. Thank you guys for your support. Specifically, the advanced supporters. We have Overlord, That Riced Out Explorer, QT Bear, Terry Williams, The Most Random Person, Sick D Cars and Stuff, Jug, Paradoxical, GA Pope, Channel Failed to Load. I still don't know if that's a glitch or not. We'll have to see when it expires in the next month. Eden, Davis, Hester, and the German Dude. Thank you for your support. And I think that's not Hester, it's Heister. Please correct me, Davis, if I'm wrong. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys a lot. See you again next time.